Welcome to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. I'm your host, Luke Darnell. This week, we have Andrew Cloer with Bald Hawg, the current number one team in KCBS. Andrew and I have been friends for a long time, and he's had a remarkable story as a pitmaster and as a person. He hails out of South Carolina, is a rabid Clemson fan, and cooks an absolutely fantastic low country boil. So please join me in welcoming Andrew Cloer. So I'm here today with one of my longest friends in barbecue, and that's actually real. I've known Andrew Cloer from Bald Hawg we've cooked barbecue for 9 years. I've known Andrew for 8 years. And one of the first people that I ever met, and one of the nicest people I've ever met, and still continues to be one of the nicest people. How you doing, buddy?
And I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm great.
And hey, before we get started, congratulations on that grand this weekend. That was awesome. Glad I was there to see it.
Thank you very much. I was very glad to win it. You know, it was one of those things that I had 3 people in the trailer and it was tough, and somehow it worked out and I had good food. I mean, I thought my food in Myrtle Beach the weekend before was just as good, but you know.
Yeah, you got to get lucky and you got to cook good food and get lucky. That's for sure.
Yeah. Before we even get into the questions, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. You made a post today about how you were taking a time out to enjoy where you are right now in the KCBS standings. Right now, you are number one in the world in barbecue.
Somehow I am, yeah. I think I've just competed more. I've just competed more than everybody else.
You know, people have said some shit to me too, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I've spent more money than anybody.
Right, yeah.
But exactly. It is a fun place to be, isn't it?
Well, it is. You know, I've been doing this a long time and never been close. I remember one year after Bainbridge, I was like 6th, and I thought that was the coolest thing. So yeah, no, I've been cooking pretty well and ranked up there. So it's fun while it lasts. But yeah, I'm going to take a couple of weeks off here, and you'll be flying past me along with everybody else. All y'all good cooks. I will be an afterthought here in a couple of weeks.
Well, that doesn't matter because, like, I thought your post today, you made a post on Facebook that was, I thought, very thoughtful, like, about how you were going to take some time and just, even if it's just 5 minutes, and just look at it and just be like, wow, that's cool. And that's,
well, yeah, we've been running pretty hard, and you know, you're just worried about the next one, and you're worried about, you know, getting ready and going to compete, and sometimes you got to sit back and go, hey, yeah. I've had a good little run here. And
yeah,
I got something to be proud of there. So yeah, that was.
Well,
I'm gonna enjoy it.
That's why I think it's great that I'm having you on. Again, like I said before, I've known you for a long time. You were one of the people when Kim and I first started. You invited us into your trailer, and God, you had the old white trailer that was all that you put together, and
Hog house.
The Hog House, yeah,
that's right.
And we were in there, and I just remember being like walking out and looking at Kim going, man, this is why I do barbecue, because this guy's a cool guy. And like, we got to meet this guy. And it's been so great now to see you up there at the top. And that's been so much fun to enjoy.
Well, I appreciate it. It's fun. And it's fun to get out there and see y'all, see everybody that, especially like this weekend, we had a great time.
Right. Wonderful. Oh my God. I don't even want to talk about the location because I don't want it to get overrun with people, but like,
no, keep that a secret.
But just what a great location and what a fantastic just time. And also Andrew put together a Friday night. He did a low country boil.
Yeah, I hadn't done that in a while. And you know, like the week before, I ate pizza off Jason, and a couple times, you know, it was just my turn to cook, and that's one of my go-to dishes, and it was good.
It was fantastic, and I got to be honest with you, I'm a low country boil critic, and that was the best one I ever been to. It was well seasoned. The shrimp weren't ever done. I told you that. I told you that like 100 times. I'm like, man, these shrimp are so good.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. I think everybody had a good time. Those cookies that Vivi brought were fantastic.
Oh my gosh, were they not? They were so good.
Yeah, they were.
It was just a great. And
The only thing I learned there is when I have a big crowd of people like that, to keep the door of the motorhome locked. Don't let people go in my bathroom.
I did go into that bathroom, but no one will ever know I was there. I'm the cleanest bathroom user ever. Now I am a notorious bathroom user. Like, I'm going to sneak into every bathroom I can, but you'll never know I'm there.
I'm gonna set up security cameras next time.
You're just mad because I saw some shit I shouldn't have.
Yes, I know.
That's not on me.
I've been trying to keep that a secret for years, and I just let you in to go look at
it. That's not on me. That's on you.
That's all on me. Lesson learned. I wrote that down. I got notes.
Well, let's get into it a little bit, buddy.
All right, man.
You're a great pitmaster. You have been for a long time. You've been in this game for a long time. How has your career and life experiences outside of barbecue prepared you to be a pitmaster?
Well, I'm in the construction industry, and many different facets, from in the field to in the office, project management and estimating. So I think that, you're always under the gun, and you're always under a time frame, and you got to do things right. Some cases, lives depend on you doing your job correctly, and something's always going wrong in construction. So you got to learn how to adapt and learn how to overcome some adversity. It's kind of like barbecue. You got to be prepared. You got to come in with a game plan. When you go into a meeting with a CEO of a Fortune 500 client, you better know what you're talking about. You better be prepared.
Right.
And then something's going to happen in the field. It's going to rain. Something's going to break. So I think those experiences of just being prepared, knowing how to work through changes and just getting the job done, that prepared me to go out and cook. Similar kind of things, I believe.
Well, and it's there's 100 ways to say it, but I always say, one of the things that I learned I worked construction for like 2 weeks, and it was always like, measure twice, cut once.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And you can apply that to so many things in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're right before you make the decision, because if you make that decision, then you have to go do shit again.
Cost somebody money and somebody time.
Right. And when you cost somebody money, then you get in trouble.
Yeah. Cut that brisket right the first time, right?
Oh, yeah. I've run into a couple of those things. In barbecue, we talk about our successes and the things that we've done great, and everybody loves to talk about that. I like to talk about failures and things that have not gone your way, that have taught you something that you've applied moving forward, and you think about every competition and it makes you a better cook. Do you have any favorite failures of yours?
Luke, I got a file cabinet over there full of failures, man. In life and in barbecue. But I think we learn the most about anything, whatever it is, through failures. Because if you win, if you're successful, you just, you don't study what you did a lot of times. If you fail, you have a sense of, I got to fix this and I got to make this right. So I've learned a lot, Like, I've been doing this a long time, and it took me a long time to get good at any of it. I'm still trying to figure it out on a lot of things. So failures are part of it, and it's what you learn from it and what you take away from it. One thing, I don't really have any. I got a ton of them, but
you
specifically,
you got a specific, like a big one?
Well, it wasn't a failure. It was a failure in the cook. It wasn't a failure on anything that I did, but. One year, the last year, I was in Brasstown with the stumps. I was a low and slow guy then. Put it on at 10 o'clock. Went and saw people. Then went to sleep. Wake up at 5 to 6. Wrap meat. Well, that year after me and you closed the resort down on Friday night or Saturday night the year before, I came back and at a head full of steam. Was looking to repeat there. Put the smoker together, put the meat on, went to bed, woke up 6 o'clock, the dial on front of that stump said 53 degrees.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it bridge?
I had bridge. The only time I ever had a bridge at a competition, I'd only had one in the driveway before that. But that right there was a failure on the equipment part. Shortly after that, I decided I was going away from gravity feed smokers, and I decided to get that Jambo. Less moving parts, no bridging. You watch the meet the whole time. So
Right.
learn from that and said, hey, we're going with something different.
You just mentioned something. You mentioned a term to me, driveway.
Uh-oh.
You have a thing called King of the Driveway. Is that right?
That is right. The KOD.
What's
King of the driveway.
Talk about it.
Well, it's meant to be practice, really. It basically is practice. It's getting your driveway, figure out what you're doing, figure your craft out, figure out what works for you before you step foot into a competition. Practice, practice, practice. Know what you're doing. Don't go into a competition going, I'm gonna, try this new rub out, or I'm gonna try this new temperature out. Sit in your driveway and figure it out there before you go out. Waste a lot of money at a competition.
And that's something that's I think is important for people to know about is the time when we started and we were trying to get better. Like I was cooking every weekend, at least 2 competition meets every weekend for 3 months.
Yeah. When I first got started, I bet there was maybe 4 weekends a year that I didn't cook. I was always out there trying something different, trying placement, meat placement, temperature, wrapping sequences, something just to learn and get better and try to create a better product in the end. But it took a while.
Right. And you got to be the king of your driveway before you can go be the king of the contest. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
That's fantastic, man. And I think you've put together cooks with other teams and stuff before. Is that right?
No. Well, I've competed. I've gotten together with a couple of my friends that are local, and we've kind of cooked together. Not a whole bunch, but a few of them.
Yeah, it's one of the things we've done a lot of times is we'll bring judges to the house and cook our food.
Yeah, that's something I've thought about doing that, but I've never done that.
Yeah, we get feedback, and it's been I think it's the same concept, like really dialing it in before you go out there so you have the confidence and you know your steps. A lot of times you get people that are watching you or you're watching people. I'm guilty of it. I've done it before and watching what other people are doing and like, oh, maybe I should try that. It's like, did you try that in the driveway?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. See if it works for because somebody might be lying to you. I know I've been told wrong information before. But it's not enough to have one little bit of information. You got to have it all. I mean,
right.
What do you use? How much, whatever, brown sugar do you use? Well, how much brown sugar I use depends on how much other stuff I use.
And it's just that repetition is such key.
Yeah. You gotta be comfortable in knowing what you're doing because the meat's going to be different. The temperature's going to be different. Something's going to go wrong, but you got to know what you're doing ahead of time before you get to it. Before you go.
The best part I know about all this is that you and I are both full of shit because we both cooked 2 different pork recipes this weekend.
How do you know? How do you know what I cooked?
Because you told me.
Did I leave that out too?
Nope, that's staying in. So let's talk about gear a little bit. Andrew has probably one of the nicest motorhomes that you'll find on the barbecue circuit, and he has a Jambo. But what is the most worthwhile investment that you've made in competition barbecue?
My time and my commitment to learning this sport and learning to get better is the most worthwhile investment I've made. I mean, you put forth the effort to learn different things and to get better. This is a money hog for sure. You can get some money back. You can't get time back. So if you want to be good at about anything, you got to put the effort in, the time in to get better and to learn. So
I don't know.
Like we talked about earlier, when we were getting started, you just cooked all the time, cooked every weekend. Sometimes, on holidays, you just cook during the day if you were home from work. So it's the time that you spend, trying to learn to get better.
I don't know that I've had a better answer to that question. That is 100% right, and that is a great way of thinking about it.
Now, when you do that, when you commit that kind of time, you give up something, right? You forego something else to focus on this. So it doesn't come without a cost there. That's for sure.
A lot of times we don't talk about things that we give up for barbecue, and I've missed my annual golf trip for 8 straight years.
Right.
So many family functions and everything. And I mean, they are understanding, but you miss it at the same time because that's cool too. But sometimes I like to cook 12 weekends in a row.
Exactly. Sorry, I missed your birthday, your 12th birthday, but
right.
I wanted to go cook.
But I needed that third place chicken.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you first started out doing competition barbecue, what were some of the best decisions you made?
I started documenting everything. I took notes on everything that I did, everything that I tried. And we joked a little while ago about a bunch of failures in the file cabinet. Well, I've got a sheet of paper with notes on it for every cook I've ever done in my life, going back to 2008, probably. So you either take notes, as you're doing, or I would get done with a competition, make notes on what went right, what went wrong. Same way in the driveway, practicing. Because you want to see, you don't want to have that perfect brisket out of nowhere and not know how you got there.
Right.
You don't want to repeat a failure when you mess up. So a long time ago, I just started making notes of everything that I did, and I got it in my spreadsheet nerd. So I've got it all in all kinds of stuff. So I reference that, take my computer with me in case I need to look up anything from, like I said, something's going to go wrong at a comp, and you're going to go back in your mind and go, okay, that happened 2 years ago. Like we were in Wytheville. You don't believe were you at that double in Wytheville last October?
No.
It was right after the hurricane, and we were on top of that mountain, and the wind's blowing 35, 40 miles an hour straight up the boiler door. And you gotta come up with something to go fix that, because it couldn't keep heat on the smoker. So
I had to do that.
Take notes on everything all the time. Still do it. So
right on. Let's talk about people a little bit. Who has impacted your life the most in competition barbecue?
I don't think I can name one person, because so many people have been so good to me and my family. There's been so many times where people have helped me out, lifted me up from some family issues that we've had. And I couldn't single out any one person, because it's too many to name. They've all been wonderful. They've all taken care of me when I needed it, and continue to do so. So.
Yeah, it's the barbecue. When we talk about barbecue family, and a lot of people throw that term around, I know that it's a lot more serious and sincere to you than it is to a lot of people.
I didn't buy into that necessarily until 2 years ago, and it's 100% true. I've never met a group of people more loving and caring for other people than the barbecue community, and I appreciate every one of them.
And I said I wasn't going to make you cry, so I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Well, we still might get there, but who knows?
Yeah, depends where this line of questioning goes.
When you think of the word successful in terms of barbecue, who's the first person that comes to mind?
I'm going to say Darren Wars. Even though I have never met him, I was at Sam's the year he won it. It just seems like he's done everything in barbecue, successful in that. It sounds like he's successful in business. He can go away and run his business for a while, and you don't hear about him cooking, and he comes back and he'll throw $1,000 out there or a reserve after a year. So he's the one that comes to mind first of all.
Yeah,
I'd like to meet him sometime, but
Oh,
we ever cross paths too much.
we'll see if we can make that happen. He's a good friend of mine, and I think you guys would actually get along a lot. And because the thing that I think he does better than anybody else is focus, especially at the majors. Like, he goes to a different place.
Right.
And it's one of the things that I've learned the most from him is like, how do you get to that place? How do you block out, your business? How do you block out your family? How do you block it all out for that 12 hours and be like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And that's his superpower, man. That's like, but I think you have that superpower too. You are one of the more focused persons I've ever seen at a barbecue contest.
I like to zone everybody out, especially between 11 o'clock and brisket turn in. You've seen me. I got my earbuds in, and I'm doing my best to ignore any and everybody. It was a little hard when we were down at Pirate Land, but we had all the snowbirds would coming over asking me. I bet I answered, "Did you build this pit 400 times that weekend?"
Well, then you had a jackass come over with a speaker and dance in front of you for about 2 minutes. It was a good time.
I think that was before 11, so I played along.
That was fun.
That was.
Leanne was like, "Where are we going to go dance?" I'm like, "Andrew's right over here. I think we should do that." You shot me with your water pistol and everything. It was good.
I was cooling you down. You were hot.
I was smoking. So what do you think was the biggest turning point in your life as a pitmaster?
Probably getting that first grand under your belt. That told me I could do it. And the success could be, it could happen in this. I went a long time without getting one. I didn't start out as the most serious of cooks. We started out this thing to go have fun on the weekends, and all of a sudden you get a call and you start taking a little bit more serious, and you start winning some money and you get real serious. But I think it was after that first grand that I got down in Cleveland, Georgia. I won a Cabbage Patch doll for my first grand.
That's amazing. Is it back there? Do you have it? No way. So we're not going to, there's the Cabbage Patch doll. Wow, that is a real.
It is a real McCoy. I got a birth certificate and everything. In the first 4 years, they called me to tell her happy birthday.
That's maybe the creepiest barbecue trophy I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Wow, that is fantastic. Oh my God.
Oh, so no, that was a big day. I hit a 709 and change for my first grand. I've been close to that since.
709, that's crazy. I cook up here in the Northeast. Well, depends on where I go. I come down there to South Carolina, I'm a Yankee. I go up north, then I'm a rebel. I don't understand. I live in Virginia, it's fine. But
West Virginia.
Well, yeah, I'm from there. It's something. So you strike me as a touch of a superstitious fella.
Superstitious? I don't know about that.
No.
Maybe.
Do you have habits and rituals or routines that you do?
The only real ones I have are my playlist. I have 3 playlists for the weekend, and they're all meant to put me in a different state of mind. Friday is the Friday playlist, obviously.
Yeah.
A little low key,
I have a Friday playlist. What's on your Friday playlist?
I don't know. It's 10 hours long.
Mine's mostly Zeppelin, Beatles. Mine's shit that Kim won't listen to.
So yeah, I get a lot of the the 70s singers and songwriters, Harry Chapin, Cat Stevens, that kind of thing.
Oh, there you go.
Then you throw in some Adele, and you might have a little Eminem in there sometimes, just to make sure you're still awake on Friday.
You mix it up. What's your Saturday list like?
Oh, hard and heavy. if they made it in the 80s and it was on at Headbangers Ball, it's on Saturday.
Okay. What's the third playlist?
That's the one nobody hears. That's the Saturday go time. That's the 11 o'clock earbuds in until brisket's over. And it is, I'm not allowed to talk about what's on that one.
That's fair.
That's the loudest and the heaviest and the songs that mean the most to me. So
that's fair, because
it's getting in that zone and blocking everybody out except for what I'm doing. And that just helps me.
Kim and I we have a playlist for each meet now.
Oh, wow.
And it evolves. If I hear a song that I think should apply to somewhere, but now, I know the time, and I'm like, in this.
Yeah, there was some misconception out there for a while, and I never debunked it because I thought it was pretty funny that people would even be thinking about me in that way. But that I had, it was timed. 11:45, this song's on, and right at chicken, this one's on, or whatever. But I let people think that because it keeps them. They're thinking about what I'm listening to. They ain't thinking about what they're cooking. So.
You should tell them it's Sade the whole way. Although there's some shit on our playlist where people are like, "What?"
Oh, I got plenty of ABBA on mine too on Friday.
Absolutely.
You can't go cooking without Dancing Queen, man.
No, you can't. Why? We're cooking food for fun in a parking lot. You got to do it.
Exactly.
So do you set goals for yourself?
I do. I used to set all right, I want to get, this many top 10s in a meet and this many top 5s, and I want to win this many, but then you never get close to achieving those, or you can't help it, right? You can't help scoring. So now it's more, just how do I like it and how do I grade myself in a cook? I don't want to forget anything at home. I want to stick to my timeline. I want to adjust when I have to. So
do you have a set program for the week before?
I do. Because I got a pretty busy life with kids and work. So I try to get started on Monday doing some tasks, hour or so, just, getting rubs together, maybe making sauces or something. Try to do something every day so it doesn't just stack up on me when I get to the end of the week, or, Thursday night I may have a late meeting or have to work late. And, you don't want to get behind and not be ready. So I think the less stressed I am, the better I cook. So if I'm prepared and I got my stuff ready, just feel better going into the weekend.
Right on. Do you have a pretty set schedule when you're cooking? Jambos are pretty reliable. Do you ever get a gut feeling about meat and you're like, maybe I should do X, Y, Z?
Well, yeah, like I said, spreadsheet nerd. So I've got things down to the 30 minutes and 15 minutes, and I try to stick to that. But also, gut instinct does kick in, and you make a on the fly decision. But that on the fly decision is something I've done before. It's not anything crazy or new. It's just, hey, you know what? This is not doing this right, or the meat's going too fast or too slow. Let's make an adjustment now.
Right.
So you hit your mark at the end. So
the
gut feel comes. It's a science to an extent, but then it's also an art. So you got to know when to break free of the timeline. Do what's right.
Right. I had that happen this weekend. The brisket, temping it, and I'm like, man, you feel like you're about to give up, but you haven't, And finally, I've had enough, and I pulled it out, and I opened the foil, and it had juiced, and I was like, so this is for my father-in-law to listen to this. When a brisket juices, it means there's a lot more liquid in the foil than what you put in.
Right.
That means stuff's rendered, and maybe you're going too far. And I was like, I yanked it, and I was like, okay, like I've got too much in here. Like, But I think we had some weather things this weekend, and that's always a big thing when you're cooking.
Yeah, I think I got lucky on the weather. I think it was angled. That wind was angled enough that it hit the back of the motorhome, and right where the firebox was, it wasn't blowing in it. If I walked like 5 feet toward Cary, yeah, it's blowing my hat off. So I got lucky there this weekend.
Yeah, I had it blown right in my box. It was fun.
Like I said, at Whitfield, I had that same thing. I had my Cambro set up in front of that, chairs, tarps, everything.
What's the most surprising thing to come out of competition barbecue for you?
The friends I've made. I didn't get into this thing to go make friends. Probably spent, everybody will laugh. People who have known me a long time and cooked around me a long time, they would always say, we get to awards and they look at me and go, we didn't even know you were cooking. You never come out of the trailer. Barbecue started out for me as a getaway from, just the hecticness of life and everything. So I didn't go there to talk, and I didn't go there to meet people. And I went to get away from life and cook. And then, I was surprised at the friendships that I made. I consider the people out here the best friends that I got. Wasn't something I was after, but wouldn't trade you or any of them else for anything.
Absolutely, man. And I agree 100% with that sentiment. It's, you find people that you wouldn't have met otherwise. I'll give an example. Jason Hardy. I wouldn't have met Jason Hardy ever in my life if it wasn't for barbecue, and I'm thankful for him being in it.
Right.
Just one.
Right. I mean, we none of us live close to each other. I mean, we weren't gonna, meet anywhere otherwise. And yeah, I'm lucky to have lucky to have met the people that I've met.
Right. So what advice would you give to a smart young person who's about to get into competition barbecue? What advice would you
give? Go buy a bass boat.
Fishing's fun, man.
I've done it before. Yes, it's almost as expensive, and there's no reward.
Well, this weekend I was sitting there going, man, if I had a fishing pole, my cook would go a lot worse, because I just sit here and there's this one bass just hitting right in front of me, and I was like, oh God.
So the very first time I cooked down there, I've cooked down there probably 6 times, and the very first time I went, I was like, man, I'm bringing my fishing rod. You know how many times I've taken my fishing rod to that place? Zero.
Because you'll be distracted.
Yeah, I'll be fishing. Oh man, what advice would I give to somebody wanting to get into barbecue?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going back to the driveway, and a couple things. Learn well. First of all, you need to learn what the correct tenderness is on meat. Everybody gets caught up in recipes and sauces and rubs. I mean, there's so much out there that works, and we all use similar stuff but different brands. And that's not the differentiator, I don't think, is cooking the meat right and learning what the tenderness is on KCBS. And if you can get out and try somebody's food, a good cook's food, and learn what that feel is, that mouth chew. I remember, about 6 years ago, down in Lawrence, and a really good cook at the time gave me a piece of his chicken. And I was like, how in the world do you get your chicken to be this good? I didn't know it could be this good. And he didn't tell me what he did, but I came back and I tried this and that and everything under the sun until I got that tenderness that I tasted from, I think he won chicken that day. So I was like, I have to figure out how to get pick a meat to be that good. Everybody thinks their stuff is good until you try one that actually is. So try to find out try to talk somebody, not me, into giving you a piece of food, and then get back and just practice it and figure out how it works for you and your cooker. People exchange recipes and people take classes, but it's got to work for you, your timeline, your smoker, and how you do things, and what feels right to you, what's comfortable to you.
Yeah, that's great advice. I mean, I think that's what a lot of people get wrapped up into, and people ask me all the time, like, what's the best advice I would give? And it's always go take a class on what you cook on.
Right.
Because some injection, some rub, some process on a different piece of equipment is not going to work on your piece of equipment necessarily.
Right.
That guy's cooked that 100 times on that piece of equipment. He knows it works. So,
right. Yeah, that's another thing. It's good. An uppercoming, like when I started, there wasn't internet, there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't classes galore.
Right.
We just had to figure it out. But yeah, it's a good thing for somebody just getting started to go take a class. I've only taken 2, and it's been 7 years since I took one. And I just sit over here and dream stuff up that I think might be good, and if I get a good score, it gets tried again, and if not, I would go on to the next thing. So,
wow.
Classes at the time, it just seemed to confuse me even more. So I was like, I just need to figure it out by myself.
There is a lot of that. You can go take so many classes that you don't know what's what.
Yeah.
And you get confused, and I'm totally guilty of it. But I've had 10.
You get taken 10 classes?
Yeah, I try and take one every year.
Oh, I took Rub and Dan 3 Eyes the year after Dan 3 Eyes won Team of the Year down in Florida. They did a school together.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff. I mean, I still use a lot of both of their techniques in my cook. And then I took Tenacious Q's class in his living room. It was a small class, about 10, 12 people. Back when he just got back from the Jack, and he'd given a class that winter. So I took his. And I still use pretty much 95% of his rib recipe today. So
wow.
I got out of that class and went to Bainbridge and took first in ribs out of like 97 people. And I'm like, well, there's my rib recipe. And I hadn't changed it. No, my scores tell me I need to like tinker with it a little bit.
Nah, I think you're doing pretty good in ribs right now. Well, Andrew, I want to thank you very much for taking some time.
Oh, no, my pleasure.
But now we're to the favorite part of my interview.
Oh, Lord.
Which is the rapid fire questions at the end.
Uh-oh.
And these are fantastic.
Am I going to have to think?
I don't know if you will or not. But what do you see about barbecue on social media that upsets or bothers you?
Probably not much, because I don't really pay attention to it.
That's why I love you so much.
I don't think I'm in any barbecue groups. You become friends with someone and 2 seconds later they invite you to like their page, and I don't. I live in my own little world, and I don't get caught up into it.
You're better off for it, buddy. It's amazing. And that's part of the reason I wanted to have you on today, because I'm like, nobody knows this guy, and he's
he never leaves his motorhome.
He's unbelievable. He's a great guy, and like people should know who Andrew Cloer is. And now you know why, folks, because he doesn't entertain social media.
I got an account, so I just don't. I'm not active, real. I don't get into all the drama.
Do you have a favorite pre, during, or post competition meal?
Oh, absolutely. Ask anybody. Stouffer's lasagna.
No way.
The meat lovers kind. After I craving pasta and Italian food after a competition.
Oh my God.
Nothing really beforehand, but man, there's a Stouffer's lasagna every weekend at my comp.
That's fantastic. Do you have a favorite present that you like to give to people?
Present that I like to give to people?
Yeah.
Ooh, probably not. I'm not a very good present giver, because
I'm the worst.
Jody was in charge of all the Christmas presents, and she was in charge of all the Christmas presents. And then she worked at a department store here at the mall in town, and she got huge discounts, and she knew what she wanted. So she would just buy our own Christmas presents and birthday presents. So I'm really bad at it.
Really, I am too, and it's just because, well, I'm kind of good, kind of bad. I'll buy a present if I think it's important to buy a present, and it's normally going to be underwear. And just because I have this brand of underwear I love, and so I send it to people because
I'm not telling you when my birthday is.
You don't even need to tell me your birthday. All you need to tell me is your address, and it shows up. And then all of a sudden, your life has changed because you're like, I don't understand why I'm wearing these terrible underwear.
I got it.
These underwear. It's amazing, and I'm not saying,
underwear.
I'm not saying their name anymore because I've approached them about like I would love for them to make a pair of barbecue underwear. So I'm like, I've turned so many people on. You would sell this, like, put a Jambo on underwear. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, because people are going to see it because half of us have holes all in our pants anyway.
Right. My favorite pair of barbecue pants. That's a giant gap to the right side.
Yep.
Amazing. So I'm going to ask this question. What do you think are the biggest misconceptions about you?
Ooh. Probably that I'm not approachable. Well, right now I'm a good cook.
That's
right now is I know what I'm doing behind a cooker.
Stop it.
Probably that I'm unapproachable, or try to avoid people, or I don't like people, which I don't. It's not the truth. I mean, I do wear a shirt that says I hate people at barbecue competitions, but that's more of a joke. But I guess it just comes to I've had friends come up and say, my wife thinks you're rude because you didn't talk to her on the way back from turn-ins. I'm like, I've got Motley Crue blaring in my ears at 11. I didn't even know she was there. Sorry.
Right. Like, and I'm by myself and I got 1,000 things to do.
Yeah. I cook alone. That's another thing. I haven't had a cook partner since like 14. So I do everything by myself. So, if I'm there and I like people, I like to talk to people, but I don't like to talk to people when I'm busy and got something to do. So
I know not to come before 11. But I'll come way before that and just do it.
I've witnessed it.
So if you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with a message, getting it out there to millions or billions, what would it say and why?
It would say, don't take anyone or any day for granted. Enjoy life and every day you got in it and the people in it. You never know when that opportunity is just going to be taken away from you at any moment. Life is a beautiful thing. Go live it. That's what I'd tell people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think about that every day. And I think about the people I've lost and thought about it a lot this weekend, with my mom passing last fall, and how much she would have enjoyed this weekend, and been a part of it.
Yeah, I know. I enjoyed our talk after the awards. That made me feel good. I was happy for you.
Yeah, it was.
But I think about that every cook I'm at. So
I do too, my friend. I do too, and experiencing heavy loss really puts a lot of things in perspective for you, especially when you're doing something that you love.
Yeah.
And you're doing something that you love, and you can feel the person that you loved watching you.
Right.
And I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. And she's there a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every second.
Yep.
Last question. I don't know the answer to this. And normally with most people I ask this question to, I do. But what is an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you love?
Unusual habit or absurd thing that I love?
Yeah, something that's like, I don't know, you put peanut butter on your flip-flops or...
No, 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 no. But the only thing I can think of is I'm I'm 50 years old, and other than sports, all I watch is cartoons.
Really?
And I have forever. I don't know.
Amazing.
It's the goofy side of me that
great answer.
It started, you grow up and all of a sudden you got responsibilities and people at work wanting stuff from you and family. And that was just, I'd just go watch cartoons to let my mind go of all that kind of stuff. And now that's other than sports, all cartoons.
For those of you that don't know, Andrew is a very big Clemson fan. And one of our first couple times hanging out was after West Virginia dropped 70 on him. And I still never let him forget it.
I think your next line is what?
Oh, we just scored again.
They just.
Well, Andrew, I want to thank you for being on here. And we've already covered.
Absolutely.
You're not a big social media person. But if people wanted to find you online, how could they?
Well, Facebook. Cloer, Cloer, Andrew. Picture of me and my Jeep on there. I don't think there's too many of us, but got this hat on, I believe. Facebook page for the barbecue team, Bald Hawg Barbecue, and then Instagram, Bald, I think _ Hog on Instagram. And there's not a lot on that one. I had to get my daughter to teach me how to work it. After I went 8 years without even posting anything. So everything that I've posted has been in the last 8 months.
I'll tell you, man, I read articles every day about social media and I'm like, I think this might have gone beyond me. Like, I don't know that I can do this.
But here you are leading a podcast.
Right. Well, and that's way different. I got one of my best friends, Danks. He does all the editing and all I have to do is do the interview. So
you're ahead of me.
Right on.
You don't even know when I started getting this Zoom call ready.
This has been one of my favorite interviews, man.
And I appreciate you having me on. This has been fun.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to see you again.
All right. Sounds good, buddy.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and share it out with all your friends. Also, be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke YouTube channel as well. We will have another episode for you next week. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedenka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is a property of Old Virginia Smoke, LLC. All rights reserved. Copyright 2021.
Yes, Old Virginia Smoke.